gonna suffer. You could be a rich man, you may be a poor man. We are just the same. One life, one blood. Sometimes it gets so hard for you. You even want to kill yourself. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. As long as there is life, there's got to be hope. Whoa, whoa. Keep on trying. One day, keep on trying. It's gonna be better. Keep on trying. La, 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 la. Keep on trying. If you've been suffering for so long and there's nowhere to turn, just take it to the Lord in prayer. He will be on your side, and you're never, never gonna fall. You've been hurt so many times. You've been let down by all your friends. Don't lose your mind. Keep trying so hard. Some pretend they love you when you have, but when you're down they laugh at you. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. As long there is life, there's got to be hope. Whoa, whoa. Keep on trying, forever and ever. Keep on trying. Don't give up. Keep on trying. Survival. Whoa, whoa. Keep on trying. No matter how hard it may be. Keep on trying. There's no easy way. Keep on trying. You gotta keep on trying. 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 Keep on trying.
So, um, folks, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. This is SKTV coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Sekou Kenneth. Today we are privileged to play host to Mr. Emmanuel Savice. Some of you may know him, some of you may not know him, but Emmanuel Savice is not a stranger to the Liberian people and more so to the Liberian politic. But I want to say welcome to all of you. I want to encourage you to go ahead and share the show because today we are going to be discussing human rights, corruption, and the possibility of war and economic crimes code in Liberia. We will discuss the actors, we will discuss war laws, we will discuss our country, we will discuss government, we will discuss those who are serving as blockade to the formation of war and economic crimes code. We will discuss the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We will discuss people who are doing everything possible to make sure that justice is not served in Liberia. We will discuss those who are fighting, genuinely fighting, to make sure that Liberians see justice. We'll discuss everything. We'll discuss politics. We'll discuss the impact of our government, of our president, in an effort to stop or to bring justice to our people. We will discuss the refusal of our leaders, specifically those within the legislature, their refusal to provide an avenue, to provide a conducive environment to make sure that the perpetrators of injustice, perpetrators of murder, perpetrators of corruption, that they are brought to book so that Liberia, at least for once, can see justice. It's very important that we have this conversation. It's very, very important. I want to encourage all of you to go ahead and share the show while we await our guest, Emmanuel Savice. Those of you who may not know him, he is an advocate, an activist for social justice, for economic justice, for human rights, and for the rule of law. Emmanuel Savice is somebody that came to spotlight for his fight, not just for human rights, not only for corruption, but also his fight to bring to book those who were responsible for the life of 300 Liberians that met their untimely death in the hands of the bad people. So the conversation is not going to be favorable to certain people. They may not be happy about it, but we will have the conversation. It is necessary. We will tell you some of the people, some of the perpetrators who are highlighted, who are considered as major players committing atrocity and havoc on our people. Some of us, like people like me, I have been very pessimistic that there will be a war in economic crimes court, especially under the we-are-led government. Many of our friends reached to us in the past, and we told them that we were not ready to be a part of that process, because we believe many of those people who were in the vanguard of the call for a war and economic crimes court, we knew most of them were not serious-minded people. We knew most of their actions were politically motivated, that their actions had huge political undertone that bears no merit, that there was nothing like a genuine quest for war and economic crimes court. So we decided to play a low profile. But one of the people that I personally believe that he is in it for a genuine quest to see justice in Liberia is Emmanuel Savice. That's why when we decided to talk about war and economic crimes court This time around, we invited him to join us in a conversation that will shine light not only the perpetrators as well as the victims. They were able to document a huge number of Liberians who stand up for justice, that they want to see justice prevails in Liberia. So we want to encourage each and every one of you to share the show. Today we are playing this song here by Zach and Jiba. I'm talking about the beginning that were born, in 1990 or after 1990. But most of our old school people, they know this song when they say Zach and Jiba, especially the song that say keep on trying, no matter what, no matter how. One day, justice will prevail. Listen to it while we share the show.
Life is not easy to carry on. I know you've been trying so very, very hard, but you got to be strong if you want to survive. You could be a rich man, you may be a poor man. We are just the same. One life, one blood. Sometimes it gets so hard for you. You even want to kill yourself. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. As long as there is life, there's got to be hope. Whoa, whoa. Keep on trying. One day, keep on trying. It's gonna be better. Keep on trying. La, 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 la. Keep on trying. If you've been suffering
I just dancing on.
for so long and there's nowhere to turn, just take it to the Lord in prayer. He will be on your side, and you're never, never gonna fall. You've been hurt so many times, you've been let down by all your friends. But don't lose your mind, keep trying so hard. Some pretend they love you when you
We the old school people in the house right here.
when you down and laugh at you.
The one that can say I just laugh at the beginning of them. Oh,
As long there is
the old
life,
school thing.
there's got to be hope. Whoa, whoa. Keep on trying, forever and ever. Keep on trying, don't give up. Keep on trying, Bible. Whoa, whoa. Keep on trying, no matter how hard it may be. Keep on trying. There's no easy way.
Folks, we are waiting for Emmanuel Savice to get here. We are waiting for Emmanuel Savice to get here. But while we are waiting him, the brother is having some trouble getting connected. We don't know what's up with that. Let me see here. So Emmanuel Savice has been trying to get on, but for some reason, the system is not allowing him. So what happened yesterday? Let me tell you guys what happened yesterday while we await our guest to be here. First of all, we're going to be discussing war crimes code. We're going to be discussing politics. We're going to be discussing killers. We're going to be discussing their victim. We're going to be discussing what lies ahead of all of us as Liberians and what needs to be done, what we all have to do collectively to make sure that justice is served in Liberia. So it looks like Mr. Savice is here now. I called the man off guard. The man supposed to be here a long time ago, but the man forget. So I tell the man, you got to come on. Whether you're on a bicycle, you're in the airplane, you're on a motorbike, you got to come on. And finally, he made it through. So yes, indeed, like I was saying, Emmanuel Savice is one of those people that Steve. Anyway, we're gonna miss you today, Steve. I think Steve will be here. But like when people really care about this war and economic crimes code, and like I said earlier, one of the people that I trust years back, some of good friends really attacked me when I say I am not a supporter of this whole war and economic crimes code. People get on my throat, say, why Seku, why I told them because I don't trust you. I don't trust many of you who are doing it. You are doing it for political expediency. You are doing it because you want to just score political points. And I made it very clear. I said there are people who are genuine in their quest to see justice in Liberia. But I said, Emmanuel Savice is one of those people that I trust. I believe that whatever he's doing, he's genuine about it. That's why this is not the first time we have invited Emmanuel Savice on this platform to discuss the human rights abuses in Liberia and the war and economic crimes code. He has been the champion. So that's why we invited him today. So I want you, all of you, I've seen people saying they are watching us from China, people from Liberia, Australia, South Korea, everywhere around the world. That's why SKTV is so unique that we have viewership and participant from around the globe. And we are so blessed and we appreciate it. So we will waste no time. The old school song we play right now, maybe my service will, you see the main line is disconnecting again. By the time I was about to press the button to bring the man on, the line just got disconnected again. What's going on, man? We got to discuss this war and economic crimes code, man. Mr. Savice, if you're watching, if you're listening, maybe you can just try to make it home because we don't want to be going off and on. Try to drive. When you get home, you can come on. I can be talking while people here listening. So what happened yesterday while we were on the show? We thought it was the hackers that were hacking our platform. But no, it wasn't the hackers. This time around, it was a problem with connection between the software we use and Facebook. And this was not unique to our platform. It was something that happened everywhere. So after when we came out yesterday, we tried to do our best to get back on. We got back on. We had a very good show yesterday. But then late in the evening, around 8 p.m. our time here, we received an email from the software that we use. Almost 3 of the software that we use. Because what happened when we get that problem yesterday, we tried different software just to be on, to keep you guys informed. So we received an email yesterday stating that there was a problem with their connection to Facebook, which was not unique to our platform. They apologized to us that for any inconvenience this might have caused us. I know all of you were inconvenient about what happened yesterday. While we were in the middle of our conversation, we had, okay, I think Mr. Service is back here. Hopefully, his connection will be okay. I think it's about the internet because you're not stable. You're not in at home. I think that is the problem. But hopefully, we will get it going right here. Postman, how are you, sir?
Mr. Kev, man, I've been struggling to get on. I don't know what's been going on. I
I know
started
what.
hearing you, and then I'm not hearing you. I hit a button that I'm not sure of. I'm not like you, my brother. I don't know this computer very well.
I know. I can tell. I can tell, but I mean, it's okay. It's better late than never. Hopefully, it will not go off, and I think you can hear me very loud and clear. I think I ambushed you because you thought it was a different time. You thought the time you still have a little more time. I know, and but I told you no. This is the time right now. But yeah, at least you try to make it through. It doesn't matter where you are. What we care about is who is Mr. Savice and what you do, what you have been doing, and your passion for justice and accountability in our country. So, like you were not here, I was saying this, but let me say why you're here. You are one of those that I personally respect. Even though we disagree on some stuff, when I said the last time that I was now supporting this whole war economic crimes code, a lot of people take it out of proportion and say the reason why I'm saying this because those who are in the vanguard are all people who are angry because Joe didn't give them job. Are all people that are angry because they are in the opposition. But there are very few that were genuine in their quest to see justice in Liberia. And I believe you were one of those people, and I told you that. And I said
Appreciate
in public, I said to everybody, some people even got mad at me. Why single out man service? All for fighting for this thing. I said, all of you are fighting for it, but all of you got different motives. Many of the people who were champion of war and economic crimes code during the campaign of the CDC against the Unity Party, they were the proponents of this war and economic crimes code. And guess what? When they ascend to power, they become the opponent. From proponents to opponents of war and economic
it.
crimes
Yeah,
code.
we've seen that.
Yeah. And those people who are in the opposition right now, some of them, when they come to power, they will be opponent to this. So those people who actually are genuine in their quest to see justice are the people we give credence to, are the people we invite here to discuss war and economic crimes code. So, Mr. Savice, welcome again to SKTV. And I want to say thank you for responding to our call despite the short notice. But again, briefly tell our people, those people who are for the first time being here or seeing you, tell us who is Emmanuel Savice.
Well, I would like to be known as the guy who genuinely fought for war and economic crimes code in Liberia. Nothing more than that. There are other ways I could be described by individuals who know me. But as per my advocacy in Liberia, it's basically a genuine advocacy for justice and accountability. I'm the chairman of Liberians United for Justice and Accountability, and we squarely fight for justice in Liberia. We want to make sure that impunity does not continue. We want to see warlords being persecuted for the 250,000 people plus that died in Liberia and for the way our country is today.
Hmm. So yeah, when we posted your picture, referencing you as an activist and an advocate for social justice, for human rights, for accountability, some people rejected that characterization of you, stating that, oh, how far did Emmanuel Service went with that whole human rights advocacy and stuff? So you've been chairman of Luja. Where are we right now?
Well, we are far in the process and we're talking to the right people. As a matter of fact, last week, justice campaigners got together and had a meeting. So it's not just Loja. You're talking about Coalition of Justice. You're talking about the Ability Group in Liberia. You're talking about the Adama Dempster Group in Liberia. You're talking about other justice advocacies around the world concerning Liberia. We met and we discussed. As we stand right now, you are aware of the 305,000 signature that we submitted to Congress. Um, I know that the United States has said that they're interested in justice in Liberia, and we also know that the government of Liberia is not interested in justice. So Liberians who don't see us as genuine advocates um, are basically people who are involved in politics. And their politics is more about when you speak against their candidate, then you're not an advocate. Um, we've seen so many different things happening in Liberia when it comes to justice. But one thing we do know for sure is that no matter how a politician tell you they want justice, they may not want it. And I'll give you a few examples. About 2 years ago, we're in Liberia. We had a rally at the national legislature, and we had individuals who support justice. We're glad that Senator Dillon was part of that, and he became very rigid on one of the biggest warlord in Liberia, Prince Johnson. And the back and forth when Prince Johnson wanted to denigrate the senator. He came back calling him war crimes. They committed war crimes. He killed human being and blah 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 blah. Today they are in the same boat. They're fighting to make Joseph Yuma Boaka president. So you're not going to hear about war crimes code again. And that's why when you said people use it for politics, you're right. Look at the CPP, for example, Mr. Cummings. I got a lot of respect for Mr. Cummings. In fact, when we talk about war crimes and we visited Liberia, Mr. Cummings was one of those that invited us to his office to have a conversation about it.
Okay.
So I do have some respect for him in terms of the fact that he acknowledged our position on justice, and as a potential president of Liberia, he knows that justice is important in our communication to him and what he communicated to us when we had a meeting. However, we have not seen a genuine advocacy from the CPP about justice and accountability until recently. The warlord killer in Liberia, PYJ, attacked important members of the CPP. Then a press release came about talking about how justice is important, and how they're going to go and fight for justice, and they will be appointing a prosecutor. You see, these are the things that we want to hear. Not when you're provoked by the man who we need to face justice by warlords. So that's the issues we are facing right now. But to be honest with you, we are working with the United States government. I can tell you for a fact, unless this government change, unless people who are potentially becoming or going to be president in Liberia want justice and will fight for it, the American government will be the only government that will turn to Liberia one day and say, this is time for justice, and people will listen. But they're afraid of justice because justice breeds corruption, and they are all corrupt.
So thank you so much. I mean, there was some breaking news in there that many people may not actually focus on. When you said we know 300 plus thousand signature were taken by you guys, but I didn't know where that signature went. But you just told us that it was submitted to Congress. Talking about United States Congress.
Yes, United States Congress. It has made news in the
And
U.S.
and how was the reception? How did they receive that?
It was great. In fact, we are in the process of it being distributed. Is Congress has it, but every representative and senator now have been reading, and the submission is pending. So next week we have our representative. Like I said, we are working with the Coalition of Justice. We're working with Mr. Adam Dempster, who just won an award for fighting for justice in Liberia. Mr. Ability. What people don't understand is the crimes committed in Liberia are war crimes, not just crimes against humanity. It's not just Liberia's problem. It's beyond Liberia. These are international crimes. So other countries do have the jurisdiction to prosecute people who committed these crimes in other countries. And that's why where the laws of the Republic of Liberia stops, international law begins. So when you see warlords gather in Cotonou and say, you know what, we're not going to persecute ourselves, and then we sign a document for peace, those are documents that would not be honored by victims, that would not be honored by the international community. And that's why we know that if America or the international community is serious about justice in Liberia, like they're saying, I know that when they get really serious, no matter who is president, it will be a minister. But we also know that the George Weah administration, remember in 2005, we are called for justice and accountability in Liberia. And like you said, Sekou, it has been used for political gain. Even some of us, when we got involved, we were accused of trying to be representative or looking for some sort of appointments. So
Oh
what has
no.
been here, so I don't blame the people for thinking the way they did. But genuinely, we want justice, and we know justice is being discussed in the United States for Liberia, and one day people will be surprised as to how this will be a minister, but it's coming.
So, Mr. Savice, speaking of the United States, we witness um, sometimes, I think it was 2021, not too sure, when the Treasury Department came down with several names around the world, not just Liberians, but around the world. And among the names, it was this person called Prince Yomi Johnson that the Treasury Department designated as one of those sanctioned by the United States government under the Magnitsky Act. Just to enlighten some of followers and fans, we have decided to at least read a little bit, a portion of it
Okay.
that talk about Prince Johnson. And forgive, my reading skill because I don't wear glasses and I don't see when you're too white, I can see it clear. So I gotta slow down when I'm reading stuff.
You're getting old, Sekou.
I know, but you know what, my daughter, she can wear glasses. She always tell me, say, I told you to be wearing glasses. Yeah, so I don't wear glasses, but I can try. So here is what we decided to read, at least for our listening audience. It reads as follows. Prince Yomi Johnson is a former warlord, a current member of the Liberian Senate. He is a former chairman of the Senate Committee on National Security, Defense, Intelligence, and Veterans Affairs. In 1990, he was responsible for the murder of former Liberian President Samuel Doe. And Johnson is named in Liberia Truth and Reconciliation Commission reports as having committed atrocity during the country's first civil war. As a senator, Johnson has been involved in pay for play funding with government ministries and organizations for personal enrichment. As part of the scheme, upon receiving funding from the government of Liberia, the involved government ministries. When I finish, I will try to take a low for my Oma there. When they say the involved government ministry, the government ministry then that are involved with that scheme and organizations launder a portion of the funding for return to the involved participant. So in this case, they are saying Prince Johnson, not only that he killed a sitting president,
Yeah.
but also he's involved in corruption that he call pay for play, which means some government ministries and some organization, they enter agreement with Prince Johnson that can make Prince Johnson rich in a way that when the money is given to that government ministry or each organization that are involved with it, then the involved participant, the likes of Prince Johnson, who are involved for the pay for play, they will get their portion. And I will continue reading. The pay for play funding scheme involves millions. What I'm reading now, that I mean right now, I'm just reading from the United States Department of Treasury. The thing what they write about Prince Johnson. And you all follow when McGee and other people were sanctioned.
Mhm.
They made it very clear to the world and to the Liberian people that anybody, whether it's bank, whether it's institutions, whether it's government, they want everybody not to do business with those people who are designated under the Manisky Act. And Prince Johnson is also designated under the Manisky Act, according to the Treasury Department here. The
Yep.
same Treasury Department that is speaking right now that we are reading here, it is the same Treasury Department that came down with a sanction involving those government officials under George Manawia. That anybody, government or institutions, whether it's bank, whether it's organization, any institution, they want everybody not to do business with them. That if you dare to do business with them,
Mhm.
which will violate the U.S. sanction, the Magnitsky Act, that you yourself may risk of being sanctioned. That means anybody doing business with Prince Johnson, whether you are an individual, a group of individuals, government, institutions, you risk of being sanctioned by the United States.
That's correct.
So I'm sure I'm correct. So I just want to conclude the reading of what I'm looking at here, Mr. Savice. I want to give you a perspective, but I just want to make sure that Liberian people understand exactly what we are about to witness in the Liberian politics. So they said the pay for play funding scheme involves millions of United States dollars. Additionally, Johnson received an undeserved salary from the government of Liberia as a salaried intelligence source.
Mhm.
Yet, you're listening, they say Prince Johnson, not only that when he gave that position, that big position, they say the man was chairman for Senate Committee on National Security, Defense, Intelligence, and Veterans Affairs.
Yep.
That the man was getting money for nothing without doing the job. They say additionally, Johnson receives an undeserved salary from the government of Liberia as
Mhm.
salaried intelligence source, yet he does not provide any form of intelligence reporting to the Liberian government. I hope you're following. Johnson is reportedly being paid in order to maintain domestic stability. Can you believe it? That they pay Prince Johnson just because they want to have peace. They made a criminal, right? They made a killer. They made a warlord. The man, you pay the man money just to keep him from committing atrocity or
Yep.
bringing war again. When you can just administer justice and lock him up
Mhm.
without
Mhm.
paying any money. So let me conclude the reading. I know you're enjoying it because this is something that you've been fighting for all the time, not just Prince Johnson, but for all people who are involved in corruption,
Yep.
those
Yep.
that were involved in atrocity, in committing atrocity in our country. So let me conclude the reading of this. They said Johnson is reportedly being paid in order to maintain domestic stability. Johnson has also offered the sale of votes in multiple Liberian elections in exchange for money. U.S. Treasury Department is telling us, Emmanuel Savice, that they know that Prince Johnson being involved in Liberian politics,
Yep.
selling votes. So we thought that we don't want to know.
1 second.
So to us, I think to us, we thought only we don't want to know about Prince Johnson being selling vote. But America is telling you that They know that Prince Johnson is involved in selling vote in a Liberia election for money. See, one of the reasons why Prince Johnson got sanctioned. Johnson is designated pursuant to EO 13818 for being a foreign person who is current or former government officials or a person acting for or on behalf of such an official who is responsible for or a complicit or has directly or indirectly engaged in corruption, including misappropriation of state assets, the expropriation of private assets for personal gain, corruption related to government contracts, or the extraction of natural resources or bribery. I will stop there. I will stop there and bring Mr. Savice on. You know, in my poorly reading skill, but I understood exactly what I was reading. And I know many of the people listening, watching, they understood exactly what we just read. My question to you, Prince Johnson is not the only warlords in Liberia.
Mhm.
There are many of them. Why Prince Johnson is the only person so loud and always sees himself as the only person being targeted for war and economic crimes court? Why, Mr. Savice?
Well, I think because he struggled to defend himself. As you are aware, Prince Johnson has notoriously turned himself to a man of God, and we all know that he isn't one. Um, that's the kind of sympathy he wanted to have from victims because our society is generally illiterate. Our people are ignorant, including you and myself and others who think they know. So Prince Johnson is trying to be smart. He knows what he did. He documented his crimes, and there are so many witnesses of what he done in Liberia. Charles Taylor is not a good human being. He himself is a war criminal. But as far as we know, Prince Johnson documented his crimes. Look at the situation with Wata Allison. I don't know if you're aware, but Wata Allison's son works at the Freeport of Monrovia. And just put yourself in that situation. If you're listening right now and you're thinking Unity Party or ANC or CDC, think about a victim that lost his mother in the hands of somebody who he has to listen to, detect our politics, become king's maker. And that's the issue we face today in Liberia. Prince Johnson is struggling to let us know that he's a good person. We know he's not. How many times has Prince Johnson sold Nima County to politicians? We all know this elections is going to be different because even the others have gone behind Prince Johnson now to negotiate with we are. Many people don't know that, but the others of Nima, they're split. Some of
Mm.
them told Prince Johnson that you sold we are to us and said this is our son. You know what he said? He said, look, this boy was born in Nima County.
Mm-hmm.
He's our nephew. And there's no way we should turn our back. Now, we don't know what is behind the scene, but it is safe to conclude that George Weah did not live up to the expectations of Prince Johnson.
So we are having some trouble with Mr. Savice's connection. Um, let me say this while we get him to come back. You know, what the man just mentioned, the man selling vote, that's exactly what is being mentioned in the United States sanction against Prince Johnson. The mention of those ministry things. If you listen to Prince Johnson himself, he talked about how he was promised some ministerial position, 10 ministerial position, and other government position. And what he can do with those positions, when, let's say, for example, if they're giving the position, okay, these are the positions that they're allotted to your party, what he does, he will go ahead and appoint people in those ministries and telling them, you got, for example, you're going to be minister of this, minister of that, deputy minister of this, deputy minister of that, but you will be paying me. But you say we'll be paying our party X amount of money every month or every year or every 3 months or every 6 months. So those people that you're going to appoint to those positions, because those positions being given to him, he will recommend those names to the president. The president will go ahead and name those people. Then they will go and pay money to Prince Johnson. That's how corruption can never stop in Liberia, when you continue to bring these corrupt-minded politicians. They will go ahead, appoint those people. McGill was doing the same thing. That's why McGill is sanctioned. It's part of the reason why McGill was sanctioned. We told you guys here that President Weah did not even know some of the people he appointed, especially men. I'm not talking about the women, because Moluba Molu said the women then President Weah appointed, he slept with all of them before he gave them position. Moluba Molu, the chairman of the CDC, said that. But most of the men that we know, most of the men that were appointed by Moluba, by George Weah in his government, they signed document. Some of them pay money up front. Even those that ran on the CDC ticket for representative, for senator, they pay money. I have some evidence, clear evidence, that some meeting they had with Thomas Fala, Moluba Molu, McGill, Akala Gray, wherein the some people who were running to on the CDC ticket, they charged some of them $75,000, some of them $100,000. And American people, they are aware of these things. For what's his name? For McGill. McGill did exactly what Prince Johnson is doing. But the difference between McGill and Prince Johnson, McGill was serving in the government as the chief of staff of George Weah. McGill was like the point man for George Weah. Unlike Prince Johnson on an agreement can be entered the day you selling the vote to you. You will write agreement, you will say you're giving 10 ministry, 15 ministry, deputy ministry, and this and that. So he will charge all those ministers money. How much to be given to him? He will say to the party, or he will say to the county, but the county sees nothing. The party sees nothing. Only him who is receiving everything. So when Joe Weah failed to give him all the money and all the position that Prince Johnson was expecting, that's when things went crazy.
Yep.
That's
and
what
that's
happened.
correct. That's correct.
So, Emmanuel Savice, now my question to you: the fact that the United States is saying those who were sanctioned under the Magnitsky Act, they want everybody, nobody should do business with them. If you do business with them, whether you are a government, individual, or institution, you risk of being sanctioned yourself. Now, what does that say about the likes of Joseph Nyima Boakai, a former vice president, who just entered a business deal with Prince Johnson and his party?
Well, first of all, let me apologize that my cell phone got hot. iPhone says too hot, so it went off. Sekou, I can tell you for a fact that my years around Liberian politics, I have not seen an individual in government that has served government so serious about change in Liberia. I have not seen one. I've seen a lot of pretense. I'll be very honest with you, and this is the reason why some of us don't have friends in government because we are generally very, very, very straight to the point about the issues that are occurring in Liberia as it relates to who cares and who really doesn't. To be honest with you, I don't think the Unity Party is serious about justice in Liberia. You know, there's a saying: first fool, we accept it, and second, you are the fool. Um, Unity Party served for 12 years. Under them, millions of dollars was spent. The TRC was established, fact findings were done, and recommendation also. The Unity Party introduced what we call bribery of the national legislature, and not any kind of bribery, a bribery in millions of dollars. The Unity Party, under the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf led administration, was very lucky that after our civil war, we got billions of dollars from the international community, especially with the United States caring about our country. They were very lucky. In fact, there were budgetary support so that the Liberian government would be able to pay salaries coming from even the European Union. Many people are not aware about what sunk into Liberia under the Unity Party-led government. These people never care about justice. In fact, they placed the TRC under the carpet. The CDC was in opposition at the time, major opposition political party. They were dead serious about justice, as far as we know. We saw all of that. Now, when they got in power, that's why I like when you introduce the show, you talk about justice and you talk about how people use it for political play. Yeah. That's what the CDC did. And now the Unity Party don't need to fool us again. Now, what they're trying to do is to say, look, this is not an institution. The Unity Party is not Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. It's not an institution. This is now the Unity Party under Joseph Yuma Boaka. Vice President Joseph Yuma Boaka served 12 years. He was president of the Senate. Yep. When all of the things that transpired in the Senate, especially all those Booker's concession not in conformity with the laws of the Republic of Liberia was signed, he was there.
Yep.
Now, these people were never serious about justice. The recommendation was that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf would not run for office for 30 years. I mean, that alone put the document aside. Buffer Chambers and others were fighting for justice at the time. We got to know in 2011 that the reason why the CDC opted for justice as the mantra of their campaign was because they wanted to make sure that Ellen doesn't run in 2011, and that would give them the opportunity to serve and steal and be even more corrupt. So they were not fighting for justice. They were fighting so that the TRC will hold. And when the TRC hold, that means that Ellen cannot run, and we all know George Weah was the next in line in Liberia as it relates to what the voters think. Turns out they became leaders of Liberia, and today they don't care. Now, this is the first time I see a leader who could potentially be president of Liberia. I always tell people, I like to be a realist. In these elections, it's a three-horse race. There is George Weah. One of my friends threw him out yesterday in a conversation. I don't agree. There's a lot of kids that are going to be 16, 17, and 18 years old that are going to go to the ballot box and look for the most popular candidate without considering the issues. Don't forget, these kids don't know anything about the war. They don't know what Liberia was. All they see is what Liberia is today. And you cannot convince them that President Weah is not doing well. In fact, he's building a few sports parks. He's doing those mediocre projects because we have not seen them before. I told someone that one of the markets built that I saw, even Jokbata market that was built way back, you cannot even compare it to the market we see right now. However, Liberians are used to the mediocre projects, so the president. So he's a contender. We all know that Joseph Yuma Boaka is a serious contender as well. And then we have Alexander Cummings,
who is also a serious contender in these elections. For Bwaka, the vice president, who now thinks that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is not good enough because of the way she treated him. And I agree with him. I can serve you for 12 years of Sekou, and then in the end, you backstab me like the way Ellen did. I agree with the vice president. But the vice president has not even come up with a platform to create a change on paper. I'm not talking about in reality. On paper, that will effectively begin on the first day of his office. Liberians are not caring about that. How can he do it? They don't even know. This is a vice president that immediately started to work with MDR, a party that has been established by a warlord, a man who killed a sitting president and killed innocent Liberians and joined other rebels to murder 300,000 Liberians plus. It tells you that he doesn't care about justice. But now, there is another point. The question is, who cares? Who cares? And I'll tell you, when Alexander Cummings joined the CPP, I was the first to criticize that collaboration. I felt off a lot of ANC partisans
I remember. I
because
remember.
I saw him as a stranger in politics that would take a different direction. I also do understand that our politics and people reflect what our country has become and who we are. And it's hard to get into politics and don't work with those who have corrupt the country. I understand that. But I didn't think that collaboration was necessary. ANC people jump in at my throat. Recently, we discovered that Alexander Cummings gave Prince Johnson 50,000 to his school. They say for education. Now, being a smart person tells you that Mr. Cummings was negotiating at least with Mr. PYJ the killer, at least to buy some sympathy for today so that they can have some support. I have a lot of respect for Mr. Cummings because by far he has conducted himself as the most mature leader in Liberia opposition. And I don't say this because I care. I say this because I know. I see what they're doing. You know, you don't see Mr. Cummings out there causing people mad. You don't see out there fighting. In fact, look at what he did these few days. Send a message to Marty Colley, who has been after his character, to say happy birthday. You know, this is
Did?
really something I admire.
Oh, he did
Yeah,
that?
he did that. I really admire him for that.
Okay.
And Collins to turn it into how Cummings had asked for ceasefire. I mean, he played a kid's card, right? Where he wants something out of that to say, I was reached out to, and then he asked for ceasefire, so I'm going to ceasefire or whatever. That's not even the situation here. But what I'm about to say is true. Prince Johnson is not as powerful as people think he is in today's politics. I'll tell you right now, Nima County is not going to show up for the Unity Party. Nima County will be divided into three, in fact, not even three, because the son of Nima, Tiawan, is also contesting, and he's a very respectable Liberian. You
Yes.
know why I don't see him as a person who is generally or genuinely a contender in this race? I also think a part of Nima is going to go for him. Joseph Yuma Boaka made a big mistake by not selecting somebody from the CPP, by encouraging Prince Johnson to be a part of this campaign, and I expect this to affect the Unity Party campaign very much. But it tells you what the Unity Party is capable of. They are capable of continuing impunity in Liberia, and as we all know, this is what Joseph Yuma Boaka has communicated to us.
So, speaking of Mr. Cummings and the CPP, you know, our problem in Liberia, and one of the blockade for establishment of war and economic crimes court in Liberia is because of the lack of willingness on the part of our leaders, especially president, to establish it. Ellen, who was the first president after the establishment of TRC, you know she was not going to prosecute herself.
No.
And George Weah came. George Weah came with some level of guarantee to protect Ellen and other warlords that supported him, including Prince Johnson. So among those who are currently running for president, which one of you, which one of them that you or the organization you affiliate with can trust to say, yes, if this person is elected, Liberia will certainly see justice?
I want to see a new face in Liberian government. I don't want the old politicians. That's the first thing. And that's why people think I am an ANC member. No, I'm not. I technically love Tiawan Gonglo the best because of the way he has taken justice. He cares about it. He's fighting for it. But I also do know that there is no realistic pathway to the presidency for Tiawan. He hasn't been involved in Liberian politics. He has been away, he's been doing a poor man lawyer jobs here and there. Cummings is the next person I think is better off becoming president of Liberia. Why? Because I have not seen Cummings being a vice president in Liberia before, president or minister, somebody who has been in government and has not been able to take care of the principles of government and governance to the people of that country or the people of Liberia. But I may be wrong because I've never seen him served in government before. But personally, I'm not going to go back to the CDC. I'm not going to go back to the United Party. And that's why I want to see new breed of politicians. And let me explain this to you. And I said this before. I went to Liberia, our last visit. We wrote every political candidate that we thought would be vying for the presidency of Liberia. We hand delivered the letters, and we wanted to meet with every one of them to talk about justice and see how much they care. We were only given audience by two candidates, Tiawan Se Gonglo and, of course, Alexander B. Cummings. The meeting lasted for an hour each, and justice was paramount. And I'll tell you, both of them told us that they cannot administer justice while they are not president. But if they are, they will make sure that the Liberian people experience what justice is. That the older generation that are dying today, who did not see justice as a reality, would then look and say, yes, finally, here is the justice we need. There is something Mr. Cummings said to me that really appealed to me, but you don't trust what politicians tell you, right? But I'll tell you, I have a lot of respect for him because of the way he has conducted himself throughout the time he entered politics. He said, Emmanuel, we all want justice, but how do you administer justice just as an advocate? How do I administer justice as an opposition? We don't have the power. If I'm president, I promise you justice will be served. The fact that he even sat with us and talked to us about justice put him ahead of other candidates that didn't want to see us. Jose Yuma Bwaka didn't want to see us, my brother. In fact, not even Jose Yuma Bwaka. The Unity Party partisans have been very deceiving about justice in Liberia. And why it is true that Jose Yuma Bwaka is a serious contender for the presidency in Liberia, it worries us. Who knows that the Unity Party has never been concerned about justice and still a contender in Liberia after that party should have been dead after 12 years of nothing but administering corruption and further corruption in Liberia and even passing over corruption to the CDC-led administration. So when you talk about who, I will tell you plain blank, in my opinion, I would like to see a new political dimension with new politicians that do care about change in Liberia instead of the old faces saying we come with something different.
Thank you so much. So You know, following Liberian politics of late, sometimes I can just sit by and laugh with some of the actors and their activities. I've seen people criticizing Mr. Comey to speak for vice president in person of Councilor Charles Bronski. If you were to draw a contrast with the various vice presidential picks, the Joe Howard Taylor, the Jeremiah Kuhn, their associates, with that of Councilor Charlie Bronskin, who actually come across appealing or that represent a true democracy or something something a symbol of democracy. Who actually can you sell to the Liberian people with some logical reasoning to say yes, at least I'll prefer one over the other, drawing contrast between the two of them, the
You,
three
you know,
vice
Sekou,
candidates.
that's really important for Liberians to think about. To be honest with you, when before Charlene Bronskin was selected by Cummings, I was one of those who posted that she's the heart of Basel right now. I think the CPP collaboration, there are things that happened before I get to the answer of your question. People had a lot of thoughts in how they could become government officials, and they knew that a CPP collaboration between Alexander B. Cummings and Joseph Yoma Boakai had only two results. The first one is either Joseph Yoma Boakai become president and Alexander Cummings vice president, or vice versa. Now, the people who were too greedy to destroy this collaboration knew when the collaboration is destroyed, they will not have that alternative again. They will not have the opportunity to become the vice president and even to leading other basic part of government that money flows. We understand that. So we expected the vice president to at least pick Yombli Kanga. The reason is because she was part of the collaboration. And we all know that ALP big man Benana Ure does not really appeal to Liberian. So it's not like Yombli Kanga is powerful, but that was the only logical sense. But there is something else that the vice president did consider, that Nima County would give him a lot of vote. And besides, the country and Congo and native thing, don't throw it away. It's in some of those politicians. And that is why you see tickets like what we have today is being criticized. I'll tell you one thing. The only reason why Yombli is not back with Cummings is because she feels that the political party that she owns were taken from her and given to someone else. And that's why part of the prerequisite of coming back was to make her political leader and give her power again. Something that Cummings' ability made her to understand that when you come, everything will fall back in place. So Yombli was being sorted, all right, by the Cummings administration. To be very honest with you, I don't see Yombli as a powerful person. Yombli was elected when Charles Bronskin took her to Grand Bassa County and helped her got elected. Then there was a second election. Basagan Finlay didn't come far behind. He lost the vote by 2,000 votes, even on a bad CDC leadership. And the CPP helped her got elected. So there are two people that benefited from the whole collaboration. Darius DeLong and Yombli Kanga. So both from Bassa. And they are the two, they are more, the two of them are more the few that broke up this collaboration that would have won George Weah in a first round victory that they didn't want. Now, if you look at the pick of each vice president, I don't have any respect for Joel Howard Taylor, first of all. Not because of association with Charles Taylor, but because she has provided no leadership over the years that she served in government. I remember when she went to the United States when she was senator, she asked that her 20,000 salary goes up because they are paying for wedding, they are paying for funeral, they are paying for this and that. She got no idea. Anybody who tell me that politicians need more money to give hand out got no ideas about what policy is and how to change the life of people. So she's out. Cohn is not new. He's in the Senate. There's so much corruption he's been accused of. In fact, we've been told that this man transferred $1 million money from the Senate to his own clinic. That's what we hear. $1 million United States dollar. To look, these people are so corrupt that they work with each other to steal. You know, don't quote me on it. Go and do the research with the Senate. You'll hear about some of the things they have done. The same thing Sir Joseph does. The same thing other. So they got these clinics, they got these hospitals that they can get money from the government to support. But JFK got no beds. Redemption got no beds. As a matter of fact, I just lost one of my cousins because she went to JFK and there was no bed. They kept her on the floor. When my mom got in contact with me, we transferred her to Cooper Clinic, and then she died the next day at Cooper Clinic. These things affect us. But these people are into politics knowing that they have a group of ignorant people to bring on their side, so they continue that way. But to answer your question here, Osiku, I think Charlene Bronstein, even though Cummings was left with no option, became the best pick among the vice presidential candidates. And that's why I hope that Liberians will call for a debate on the issues, not just looking at Joe Howard Taylor and say, oh, that Taylor ex-wife, or looking at Kun Ohi from Nima County. But as popular as your candidate is, as they can bring more votes. Now, when votes come, what can they do for Liberia? It's the questions that all well-meaning Liberians should ask themselves. And that's why I think Cummings got the better of the three vice presidential candidates in terms of what policy they can put out there to make a change in Liberia.
Thank you so much, folks. If you just joined us, this is SKTV coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Sekou Ken, as always. Today, we are privileged to have with us Mr. Emmanuel Savice, an advocate, activist for social justice, accountability in Liberia and around the world. Mr. Savice lives in Canada. To be specific, he is one of those Liberians that does not hold back when it comes to justice and accountability. So many of you have joined us since he started speaking. I'm saying, I don't know how many people watching us actually on YouTube. I know there are a lot of them, but we have at least, over 1,400 people watching on Facebook. SKTV and SKTV Live, because we have two Facebook accounts. SKTV and SKTV Live. The newest one is SKTV Live. Original SKTV remains SKTV. There where we have a lot of people watching. But wheresoever you are watching. We are also on Instagram. So we have a lot of people following us from around the world. Mr. Savice, if you were to encourage Liberians participation in these elections, what would be the main reason that you think Liberian people should vote? By all means.
For change, Liberia needs change. First of all, I always tell people that the first thing we need to change is government salary structures. We have seen what Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and the Unity Party did. We've seen what George Weah did. If you want genuine change, you need to understand that your politicians don't offer you very much to be attractively paid the way they are paid. That needs to change. You need to change people who don't care about the rule of law. I always tell people, you see Sekou, you think Sekou is a good man, or you see Emmanuel Savice, you think he's a good man. You will not know that we are all bad. We are all not good people. It's the rule of law that make human beings to behave. Otherwise, Sekou, I could meet you in the alley and beat you up for your $500 just because I'm stronger than you. The rule of law is what scares human beings. We have seen what some humans have done. Look at Hitler, for example. Look at the story of Ukraine and Russia at this point. Babies are dying. Nobody cares. Human beings are one of the worst if we are not governed by laws. And I would like to see somebody who cares about the law. And here is something that Mr. Cummings said to a colleague this morning or yesterday. I respect every Liberian, whether you know or not, that want to respect the law of the Republic of Liberia. The matter you choose to respect the law of the Republic of Liberia, it means that you have already started contributing positively. And that's paraphrase. To be honest with you, Sekou, we are not going to succeed in the absence of the rule of law. And the rule of law is not today. The rule of law is yesterday, is today, and the future. So if we continue to live away from justice, live away from accountability, we're not going to get what is needed. And that is why I ask every Liberian, when you go to this election, I don't care. I'll tell you, and I don't care. There are only two candidates in this race that can be given a chance. That's Tiawan Gonglo and Alexander B. Cummings, in my opinion. I'm not a member of any one of these political parties, but these are people who I believe can bring about some sort of change. I don't believe the CDC change. I don't believe the Unity Party change. Not because I don't trust Unity Party or CDC, but because I know they are not capable. They had 18 years in between, and both parties only sign up for corruption that is glaring in Liberia, that poverty continue to increase among the people, and the ignorance of our people continue to be played on. I ask everyone not to vote based on tribal line, not to vote on party line, but vote on the issues. Vote on the fact that candidates are willing to come out with a platform for change so that you can see how they can administer it. And that's something that I don't see in the Republic of Liberia.
So, yeah, speaking of this whole idea of change and recycling politicians to include warlords and other people who committed heinous crimes in Liberia, I'm pretty sure the United States of America, France, Great Britain, and other powerful nations, they are following Liberians' politics with keen interest. And with the Prince Johnson connection, Jeremiah Kun being involved in the legislature, and now the United States government just point finger to the legislature of Liberia for being one of the corrupt institutions. We are having trouble. Hopefully, Mr. Savice will be back. Okay. Yeah, so Jeremiah Kun being one of those people in the legislature that has been considered by the United States government as one of the corrupt institutions of government. Do you think the international community is paying attention to our election, and do you think they will have any impact, or will the result of our election affect our relationship with the United States or the international community moving forward?
It's possible, and here is why I think it's possible. One is, let's Jeremiah Kun is not being charged for anything. What we do know is Jeremiah Kun was picked from a party that was established by a warlord. After 18 years of 3 consecutive democratic leadership, we don't expect Liberians to still be working with warlords. Sierra Leone persecuted a warlord, and in fact, None of them allowed to contest elections in Liberia.
In Sierra Leone.
In Sierra Leone, I'm sorry. Let's be honest here. The people that are participating majority in our politics, you think they care about whether America is helping you? They know there is enough money that comes from the Freeport of Monrovia, the sales of our diamonds, and other bogus concessions to support them and their family and make them millionaires. Here is one aspect of what Liberia has been going through that we need to consider. Every leadership, whether democratically elected or not, the officials of government are not Liberians. They are not nationalistic. And let me explain myself. Every one of them has a route to the West. If it's not Canada, it's the United States. If it's not the United States, it's other parts of Europe. So when they are serving, here's what they're doing. They are making money and they are investing it in a country where when their term is done, they are traveling to that country. Most of them go to the United States. Most of them. So when you steal $1 million, or 3/4 of that money go to the United States to wait for you there. We are affecting our country because we are not nationalistic. On the other hand, folks in the diaspora who could find a job here and work, most of them are waiting for the job opportunity in Liberia. So they go back and make free money. So you have a bunch of Liberians that don't care about Liberia. I live in a country that we don't care about politics. As a matter of fact, there's voting going on right now in my country where I live. And many people don't care because at the end of it, there are institutions there to guide us. At the end of it all, we're still going to get the same benefits we get. There might be a little difference in immigration policy or other policies that will affect immigrants that are really important to us. But in Liberia, these people will not care. Look at Charles Taylor, for example. Who can tell me that Charles Taylor and his group of rebels or his group of officers suffer in Liberia when Liberia had no help from the international community? Did you not see them riding the best of cars?
Yep.
Did you not see Charles Taylor living the best of life?
Of course.
The ATU were wearing the best of uniforms. They had guns, they had cars, they had food, they had houses, they were building. They don't care because domestically we are capable of raising about $1 billion a year. And that's just from domestic resources through tax dollars and everything else. So the first thing in your mind is not to have support from the West. It's how we can get power. And then we beg the West later on. If they say no, we just enjoy ourselves. And that's what they do. Look, Liberia needs the United States. The amount of aid that the United States gives to Liberia should not be overlooked. And we must respect that country no matter what, because we live with them. It's like we are on welfare. They help us. And they help us even though our people are corrupt. You live in America, Sekou. I lived in Canada. I always tell people, the national legislature spent millions of dollars on vehicles. In fact, a notable $45,000 on representative, not for the tenure of 7 years, but for 4 years. And that car is changed. Now, where I live, representative don't own government car. There's a fleet of vehicles that are available. When you want to go somewhere using government vehicle, you sign, you grab it for the hours you need it, you bring it back. And this is a rich country, very rich country. But Liberia, that say they are poor, or we are poor, we're giving our president about $4 million. We're giving our vice president about $3 million. The Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs alone, that office takes about $21 million. And a lot of people don't know what the budget is. A lot of people don't even know that Liberia has been raising over $1 billion in revenue, but our past government and this government have never reported $750 million. That money is not being accounted for. And that's why you see the caste system in Liberia continue to exist. Technology will not be something that we're going to consider. And that's why I say to Liberians, if you want a better government, you got to fight for the simplest of things. The rule of law, you got to fight for it. Salaries has to drop. In fact, government jobs in Liberia is way too attractive. Way too attractive. Like, Yeke Koluba is with the opposition. But somebody tell me, please tell me. I know a lot of people like Yeke Koluba because he insults the president. And, he's vocal. In fact, these few days I heard him talking about Joseph Yuma Bwaka not serious to be working with somebody like Fangon. Let's be honest. What is he contributing to the Liberian legislature? But it's one uneducated man. Now, when you look on the right, an educated man like a Carlos Gray, who lied that he cared about justice, doesn't care when they became leaders in Liberia, especially when his party is now leading Liberia. So it's a lot of things to discuss in Liberia, Sekou. I got to be honest with you. I don't see a path of good governance in Liberia unless we make a change. And that change has to start with new politicians, people that understand that we need the rule of law to be able to succeed. We need a balanced budget to be able to succeed. And we need to close where cash flows to be able to succeed. Before I take a break on this question, I'm a businessman myself, Sekou. I do a lot of business in Liberia. Last year alone, I paid $137,000 United States dollars to the government of the Republic of Liberia.
Wow.
And I just realized that going through my documents about 3 weeks ago that we do contribute a lot. People don't understand. Among the $137,000 that was paid, more than $30,000 will not go to the government coffers because you know what? There are people who give you receipts that are fake. They ask you for things that you shouldn't be paying. But when you pay, it's not going to work. So I'm telling you, Sekou, we have a lot of problems in Liberia. We want genuine politicians who want change, not to enrich themselves. Politics is not where you're going to enrich yourself. And that's why we need new breed of people in our governance. And
Okay.
that's all I can ask for.
Thank you so much, Mr. Savice. Like I said before, bringing you on the show, I said we're going to be discussing war and economic crimes code. When I said we are not going to be limited to just one thing, because I know you follow the politics and you've been involved one way or the other. So we just drew a contrast between the VP picks for the three major contenders. Now, anyway, before I say this, let me say this. Thank you to somebody, a stakeholder for who we consider to be one of the stakeholders for our SKTV, sale on $25 to SKTV. We say thank you so much. We appreciate the name of Smith. Smith, thank you so much. We appreciate it. So, Mr. Savice, this is about something we consider that is considered in Liberia like guilt by association. But in other words, let's somehow use the doctrine of the lesser evil in this argument.
Mm-hmm.
The doctrine of a lesser evil. Speaking of, people always jump on your neck when you mention the likes of Prince Johnson being accepted to be one of the fixes of Joseph Nima Bwaka's campaign.
Mm-hmm.
You always bring about Musa Pelete. Oh, Musa Pelete is FIFA criminal, indicted criminal of FIFA, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, granted, Musa Pelete was accused and was also found guilty by FIFA arbitration court that is not illegal, that is now an established criminal court of competent jurisdiction, wherein they are finding it would remain within the jurisdiction of the FIFA. However, on the other hand, you have Prince Johnson that is sanctioned by the United States of America. Prince Johnson that was involved in killing a president on camera. Prince Johnson of recent, who came publicly on the radio that everybody that have tried him, he killed them. He mentioned 3 good Nimbayans of our own people that he said they tried him, they died. He killed them. And he said the other one tried him, he got crippled. Will you, if you were to choose between Musa Ability and Prince Johnson as an associate, using the doctrine of lesser evil, who will you prefer being with? Musa Ability or
Or
Prince Johnson?
I will associate any day with Musa Ability than Prince Johnson. Is first of all, FIFA is not a court. People need to understand that. FIFA itself is as corrupt as Liberia, even more.
Even more than Liberia.
Even more than Liberia.
Yeah.
I let me tell you what I got against Musa Ability. Musa Ability spoke against justice in Liberia. He spoke that war crimes court was not necessary for Liberia. But here is the thing. Musa Ability is not a very influential person in terms of how a political party works. I was very surprised to see Musa Ability now controls the Liberty Party, and that's the greediness of Dillon and Yomli Kanga that caused these issues today. In any day, you put the two together and ask me to pick the lesser evil, Musa Ability by far will win the votes of people who have head on their shoulder. Prince Johnson is a murderer. Musa Ability is not being accused of killing anyone. Prince Johnson even broke Euro Bank and stole millions of dollars there. In fact, Prince Johnson himself said that he turned over $300,000 to the Emmanuel Savice administration. Now, many of you want to believe that Prince Johnson got $300,000 and took everything back to the administration. It's up to you. Prince Johnson has built what he called a university for millions of dollars. Ask where he got the money from. Prince Johnson is only on the side of Joseph Yuma Boaka because George Weah refused to give him what he's demanded. People need to know that. And what Prince Johnson really feel about Joseph Yuma Boaka is also played in an audio when he was interviewed by Wayon that Joseph Yuma Boaka is not capable of becoming president of Liberia, that he's sick, and that George Weah has helped him and blah, 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 blah. That's it.
I have the audio.
Yeah.
If you want, I can play it. Let people listen to it.
Play it if you haven't played. People need that's for people to know who Prince Johnson is. Prince Johnson does not support you because he thinks you are better. He's supporting for what he can get. That's all it is. Now, he's also watching, though, don't forget, I don't see a path to George Weah being reelected. I know a lot of people that care about the CDC that don't care about the CDC anymore. The only thing I see the CDC has is the new breed of voters. Prince Johnson in his head know that Joseph Yuma Boaka potentially could be president of Liberia. So he's seeking another place where he can be bribed and protected by the administration. It's all about him. And that's why the elders of Nima, they have split. They're three. They're splitting themselves into 3. There are groups contacting the Cummings administration. The Prince Johnson factory is with the Unity Party. And then there are groups saying, you know what? You told us our son John Weah is good. We're going to stick with him. But if you have that tape, play it. I'm pretty sure people have heard it.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to play it so that
let people listen to what he thinks.
we can listen to him, what he says about, because you can say one thing, and then say you believe in this person, and then on another hand, you're saying something else about the same person.
Yeah.
So we don't know which one to believe, and we don't know which one is what. So I'm going to play it here. Hold on one second. Okay. I'm going to do this right here. So, oh my God, this is so interesting. Our country, Liberia, I think people really, we need soul searching and sober reflection. Because okay, I think we got it here. But let me see what we can do here.
Yeah, that's the video right there.
This is a video right here.
That's the audio. That's the audio right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it right now. I'm gonna play it right now. Where is it? Okay, it's right here. And we will do this
right now. So the battle is controlled by the white man. Go well with me.
Hold on. Let me make sure I want to put a video up there while we watching here. All right, folks. Because Mr. Savage referenced this video, we're trying to play so you can listen to Prince Johnson, who is now the mouthpiece of Joseph Boakai.
Okay. Even as I said, we sit down here now talking to you. Because if Mr. Weir is a boy, then I think he's a good boy. Because Joseph Boakai, former Vice President Boakai, dropped in his heart. He collapsed, almost died. It is that boy, because George Weir, who ran there, pick him up, charter a plane to fly him abroad for open heart surgery that made him to live today with pacemaker battery. He's a battery total right now. So the battery is controlled by the white man who gave it in a medical center where he was flown to. So maybe he's not well to speak the way he's speaking. He's not well. He's using battery. It's not normal. A man who is using battery and a man who has a natural heart. Compare the two. So Joseph Boakai, the former vice president, I respect him, but I'm sorry for the statement he made. He's using battery. He's a battery total. Such a man cannot even be president of this country. He's sick. So maybe that the frustration making to speak the way he did, calling the president boy. How many million people voted that boy? So many millions. Look at this boy and elected him. Maybe you call Joseph, George Weir boy because of the age. Because Joseph Boakai is over 70. And this boy is about 50-something. So when you say boy, well, that's it. But boy in the sense of immaturity, no. George Weir is mature. He's mature. That's why he told Joseph Boakai on the ground where he collapsed to fly him abroad for medical checkup, for medical heart surgery. That's what made him to live today. I think Joseph Boakai, in conclusion, should be very grateful to that boy who flew in out of the country for open heart surgery that make him to live today. But the way Joseph Boakai speaks, the way he acts, he is one of the 9 ungrateful lepers.
9 of the what? One of the 9 ungrateful lepers?
He is one of the 9 ungrateful lepers. The 9 ungrateful lepers is one of those.
Yeah, but whatever favor the president did for him was returned. Because the president himself did not have to speak about it.
The first thing, before you can return, everyone good deserves another good. So if Mr. Weir sent you to America or whatever country and you were operator on and you got well, if he did not want to do what he did for you, if he was immature and a boy, as you say, he would have left you there to die. When you die, will you reciprocate good for good? No. I don't think you are reciprocated. When you reciprocate good for good, then stick to that. Don't be uttering derogatory or profane languages or statement against this president. That's wrong. You are the other man in the country, old man like you. You got heart trouble. You felt that you collapsed. Somebody helped you today, you're speaking. You should be thankful. In everything, give thanks. That is a bigger picture of the man who saved your life through God's power. John Weir was the vessel God knew to save Joseph Boakai. Today, because of power, greed, he who said that they squander all the opportunities, destroy this country, who became the deputy vampire, corruption, that they say was vampire, he now want to be president.
He's a deputy,
well, he live with the Liberian people.
Deputy vampire.
But whatever you said about John not perfect, like me and you. but you who benefited substantially to the extent that your life was rescued, your life was saved, that this young man who flew you, even though that taxpayer money or that your own money, the fact is you could have ignored you, but he did not. He did not. He saved this old man. But what the old man is returning is ungratefulness. Call this president boy. You call the whole Liberian president boy? Then you old man, you told him battery around here?
You know, the battery thing, but people can live with that, those conditions. You are still human. Once the life hasn't been taken away.
Look at a battery man and elect you. Because any minute you could collapse. At least you already president and you say a different thing.
You hear that part, right?
You want to be
I hear that part. He said,
yeah, that part. I cannot look at a battery man and elect you because any moment you could die.
Yeah. He said, I cannot look at a battery man and elect you. Any moment you could die.
And you know, that's his thinking now that Joseph Yuma Bwaka is gonna die.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Prince Johnson got plans for Liberia.
Let me agree. Let me. I have another video.
Okay.
I have another video where he was in a radio station in Nimba County, where he said, JNB going to announce Rescue 2. Rescue 2 is going to come from Nimba County. And I can tell you, by Rescue 2 coming from Nimba County to this old man, that is the gateway to the presidency for us. Yep. He said that. He said, that is the gateway to the presidency. He said, you know, this old man, he wanted to say more. He said, you know, this old man, he's our father. He didn't say the other thing. This old man is our father. Yeah. But he said clearly. I mean, even in this video, when the boy told him, forget about that battery thing, anybody can live with that. He said, yeah, it's okay. When you're already president, you undergo the process, that's fine. But you can't look at a battery man, the man who is already carrying battery to make him president because he could die anytime.
Yeah.
Prince Johnson is saying this. Okay, but how can Prince Johnson go to the Liberian people and tell them, say, vote for this man here?
Isn't that a normal thing in Liberia, Sickle? How many advocates have told you that this man is not good and come back and say this man is good? It's all about what they can get. That's all it is. So Prince Johnson now is thinking that old man is old. He's going to lose his life. And Nima County is going to control the country. Now, MDR is going to control the country.
Yeah. And now, if America is president, that means Prince Johnson is going to be president.
But wait, what do you think he's doing? Look, let me be honest with you. Prince Johnson should be irrelevant to our politics. The reason why he is so relevant because politicians want to be corrupt. You know, I understand you cannot work with others away from Liberia because Liberians are Liberians. But to be honest with you, any true meaning Liberian vying for office in Liberia, especially the biggest in the country, the presidency, Prince Johnson should be somebody you fear, especially after 3 elections. He's not as powerful as he used to be, number one. Number two, Liberians are crawling towards justice. Somebody like Prince Johnson should not be invited in the midst of Liberians that want to see justice administered in Liberia. I'm telling you, this man does not respect Joseph Yuma Bwaka.
So what about the fact that somebody just referenced something that I heard the other day too?
Okay.
When he said even if UNB is in the mortuary.
Yeah, we'll vote for him. We'll vote for him.
So is that a vote for GNB or is that a vote for Prince Johnson?
And let me tell you another thing they're deciding. That the old man is not going to go on the campaign tour. Look, Joseph Yuma Bwaka is almost 80 years old. That's a lot of age there for somebody who grew up in Liberia. I'm not God. There are people who are 30 years old and their health is way below what Joseph Yuma Bwaka faced in his old age. In fact, it's God's blessing for him to live up to 80 years old. So I'm not going to say or tell you that Joseph Yuma Bwaka could lose his life like what Prince Johnson has said. But the truth is, when you reach that age, with a country like Liberia that has no institution, and you want to put a burden of a corrupt country on the head of somebody who need all the rest at this point, is killing that person. And people know that. They don't care. So if you're a tribalist, you say, well, I'm from Lofa County, so it got to be Joseph Yuma Boakai. Now, if you're in the Unity Party knowing that you're going to be appointed, it's got to be Joseph Yuma Boakai. If you're running for representative or senator and you want to use the supporters of Joseph Yuma Boakai, it got to be Joseph Yuma Boakai. Yeah. But then there are people like me who see things through a neutral lens that know that Joseph Yuma Boakai is only being used. Let me tell you, these people are saying that they're not going to take you on the campaign trail. In fact, they are also saying, Yombli Kanga has said, that the leadership will not just be left with Joseph Yuma Boakai. That would be a combination of competent Liberians that support this collaboration to lead the country. I agree. But I understand what she's saying. Even though he's old, even though he may not be able to do it, we'll do it. And that's what they want. And the young politicians that have these ambitions, they don't want a Cummings presidency, because if Cummings gets there, potentially it could be 12 years. If Tiawan Gonglo gets there, potentially it will be 12 years. They want a Joseph Yuma Boakai presidency in which Joseph Yuma Boakai could only go for a one term. Mm-hmm. So no matter what, Joseph Yuma Boakai is one term. We all know at around 85, 86 years old is a lot of age for any human being. So that's why they want him. But then here's the other flip side. If Papa left there now and picked somebody else and don't care about them, you know, so they are regrouping, re-strategizing, and throwing the basket in other areas. And then by the time you look, they are on another bandwagon for a terrible Liberia. So I'm telling you, Sekou, Joseph Yuma Boakai is not loved by Prince Johnson. Prince Johnson wants to use the people that care about this man to elect him, Prince Johnson, as a de facto president through coup, just in case what he is projecting, that Joseph Yuma Boakai is going to die, happen to the old man. And that's what people don't understand.
Emmanuel Savice, thank you so much, my brother, for being here. You know, something I want to clarify while we open the line to take at least 4 or 5 calls, you know, while you stay here, maybe people want to ask you a question. You have a lot of admirers up there too. That I think you and I both know that there are people that don't like to see you because they don't like competition. There are certain people that they feel like, okay, maybe you try to get them off the stage, but
okay.
Yeah, which is okay. So somebody say, oh, you know, Sekou said yesterday that, you know, Boakai was not well. Yes. And I also added something. I told you that we were told yesterday Boakai's situation is deteriorating by the day. I also told you, and which was also confirmed by Front Page Africa, that for every time they want to use Joseph Boakai, there's a Chinese doctor that is there in Cinco that will go and inject steroid into the old man to boost his energy for a moment to go and accomplish certain activities, and they will take him back. So if you saw him today or yesterday, maybe he was injected with the same steroid. I mean, now they are not accustomed to injecting the old man weight, which I think is heartless on their part, which I believe they don't love the old man. They just want to use him to accomplish their selfish ego. But Emmanuel Savice, the family of Mr. Boakai, if this reporting was reported by Front Page Africa, I believe Randy C would never stand behind something like that if it's not authentic. Why the family will allow this woman to be subjected to such inhumane treatment by these guys?
Power, simple power, Sekou.
Really?
SK is just power there. I mean, it's power. People want power. People love power. Power is everything. Power is fame, power is money, power is material things. Power can lavishly be used. It's power, my brother. I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't say anything because I've never been in that position, but it's easy to deduce that because of power, people are allowing it. But they're not helping the old man. He needs to concentrate on his health, period. And why he's more healthy than some of us very young, it's also true that when you reach that age, it's a lot. And Liberia is not a country that built institutions.
Yeah.
Liberia only change if we have a tough president. Liberia is not going to change if we have a president that is not tough. And the old man needs to rest.
Even when the Omer
He
was
needs to
giving
be
the time,
retired.
even when the Omer was
You
giving the
know,
time, when the Omer was giving the time to speak the last time at the endorsement ceremony with Yomli Kanga Lawrence, I felt sick to my stomach. Everybody spoke; they were very loud and clear, but the Omer could not even speak clearly or louder.
it's
But he's still
visible.
praising the Omer there, my man. What is going on, man?
It's visible, SK. I got to be honest. I think it's a total abuse of the old man.
That's what I thought.
But
Steve always argue with me when I say Omer. I'm looking at the Omer as a
well, he's
victim.
been abused. He's been abused because of the love that people have for him. Anybody who genuinely loves Jose Yuma Bwaka will tell you it's time to retire. Anybody who genuinely love him. Now, voting Jose Yuma Bwaka is not love for country. It's love for yourself. That's all it is. I'll tell you right now, that there are people who become very popular in politics because of who they support. It's another easier route to take. So you want to be known SK right now, just join one of those political campaigns making headways.
Yeah.
When DeLon was making headway, you join him. When Joe we are making headway, you join him.
Yeah.
And you can use them to make yourself relevant. And it happened in Liberian politics a lot. For me, I'll tell you right now, if I had a vote to genuinely cast in Liberia, and I'm there today, my first preference is Tiawan Gonglo. Reason is because he stands for justice and accountability. Well, I don't see his pathway to the presidency, but there's an alternative in Cummings as well. Do I think that Cummings is going to be a better leader? But I'll tell you, he has conducted himself as a respectable man through this campaign. He has not gone down to the politics in which people behave immaturely. And people don't like us to say, I'm not a fan of anybody. Look, ANC people has gone to my truck. In fact, let me tell you one thing. Rosalynn Cooper, I'm mentioning her name here today. Rosalynn Cooper blocked me on Facebook because somebody posted something negative about Cummings in the Emmanuel Savice group. And she wanted me to take it down. And I said, no, Cummings is a politician. And not everything people write about him should offend people like you that offend him. So don't tell me what to take down from my page or not. She got upset and she went straight for my wife. And she said, when you can disrespect your wife like that, don't bring your nonsense to me.
Really?
And she blocked me. So the arrogance from some Cummings supporter really do not help his campaign. But the Cummings himself that I have seen, he has conducted himself as someone who has been able to hide his arrogance if he has one, and he has been able to communicate very well. But I'll tell you, it's not like I think he's better than others. It's because I know he has conducted himself very well through this process. And if we are to make any change, and Liberians are not looking at Tiawan or Cummings, then you're looking into the past. And if the UP bring back the leadership they had before, don't complain. And we all know George Weah is a failure to the Republic of Liberia. If you want to elect him for the same kind of leadership, somebody who doesn't talk, then go ahead. But I'll tell you right now, it's all because of power, my brother. It's because of power. The nephew of Jose Yuma Bwaka now is an opportunity for them to get into government. The son, the daughters, the grandchildren, the people from Lofa, they want to see their kingsman become president. But hey, can Joseph Yuma Parker lead a corrupt nation at the age of 80? It's a question you should ask yourself.
Thank you so much, Mr. Savage. Hey, you know what though? We got to talk in the back because this politics get heated. We're going to need a lot of critical voices on SKTV. We will be inviting you from time to time, not only on the human rights thing and corruption thing, but politics as a whole. We will be inviting you to participate in conversations here, as we do with every Liberian who we believe got something to offer to Liberia. But on that note, I want to take a few calls. Maybe people have questions for you, and then we will call it a day. Because let me say this: we were told that Charlie Broskin will be on the closing argument today. We will watch, we will listen, and we have also been asked to join the closing argument on a post interview analysis. We will give our genuine analysis of her, and we will be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch, because you cannot analyze something that you don't listen to, you don't know. And I think it starts about 1:30 my time here, so we have enough time. We will take few calls. We'll take few calls and listen to the Liberian people. Maybe they have a question for you. So first, I just pinned the number 480-862-0783. That is direct, also a WhatsApp number. We also have 480-401-2081. That is also a direct number. You can call and participate. If you have a question for Mr. Savice, call us and let us know. He will be willing to respond to your question. However, as always, we ask everybody to behave responsible, stay within the confines of our platform, which is discussing the issue, no disrespect to our guests. If you do it, we take you for safekeeping. That's all we do here. But
thank you for protecting me.
you're 100% protected, and we do this for all our guests. If you call in, just discuss the issue. You can disagree, you can say you lie, you don't tell you that's not true, this and that, that's fine. Those are all fair game. But while we await calls, Mr. Savice, let me ask you, do you think people who feel agitated, who feel angry, who goes amok when they hear Joseph Boakai's health being discussed, is it a fair game to discuss a health of somebody who's running for to be president of our country? Is it a fair game?
Of course, it's fair. I mean, you don't want a president that is not well, who potentially has some kind of illness that will stop them from leading the country. It's fair. And when you say this, people say, look, you're wishing death on an old man. No, we don't. We should love the elderly, and we should take care of them. That thing that we do in Africa, electing people who have turned baby again from being a baby to a man, then turn baby, it's not right. We need to take care of the elderly, and he needs to be taken care of at this point. And that's why George Weah fly him out of the country for treatment was very necessary, not because George Weah is good, but because it's the old man's entitlement. As vice president of the Republic of Liberia, former vice president, he cannot be neglected. So to see them turn it into politics is some of the immaturity we talk about.
Yeah, thank you so much. Maya Savice, you mentioned one of the ANC person of Rosalind Cooper, who is also a friend of mine. And I'm shocked to hear what you just said, because I know she's very tolerant when it comes to discussing politics. I see her arguing, having heated debate with Smile, with George Dobo and other guys from the UP. So to see what you just said, somebody just apologized in her behalf. And I know you're not taking this personal, but you just use it as a case study, as to point to some of the activities of the politics. But I would also say on her behalf, let it go. As a
no, I mean, and you know what? I've got a lot of respect for her, no matter what. And I reach out to her in her inbox too. This happened like 4 years ago, so It's not recent. It was when I think 4 or 5 years ago when ANC joined the collaboration, and as you know, I was one of those against it, and apparently that didn't go well. But yeah, I think she has some good attitude. People learn too. I mean, you yourself make mistakes.
Of
I
course,
make mistakes too. Through the Liberian politics, we all learn.
we all
I
make
used to
mistakes.
argue with people. I don't anymore. I don't argue with anybody anymore.
Yeah. So, this person got the same last name like Emmanuel Savice. The person sent $15, but I don't know whether they say they are allowed, not allowed to call their name. They sent $15 to our cash. I mean, to Zelle. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
There is my cause over there, my big cause.
Oh, okay. You see,
This lady has supported every good thing in Liberia.
yeah,
Every good thing.
Dorothy sent us $15 to our cash up to our
Yeah.
Zelle. No, we thank you so much. So yes, I said we're gonna take 5 calls, right? We already gave more than 10 calls came in, and I accepted 2, but a lot of people are even stopping me from taking the other call. But let me take the first one here. The first caller here is 612 number, last 4 digits 0589. What is your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is George Paul, calling from Minnesota.
Go ahead, George.
I got 2 quick questions for Mr. Savice.
Go ahead.
So first question is, why shouldn't Mr. Prince Johnson, which of course we all know, is a warlord, but why shouldn't he feel targeted whenever discussion comes out? He's mainly the focus of discussion, and not the others. That's my first question. And my second question is, can we accuse you of being one issue voter if you would consider Mr. Ganglo, which is he's a farmer, but if you consider him just because he believes in justice, right? But negating as far as the economics and everything else, you
Thank
consider
you.
him over Mr. Cummings. I'm not done yet, sir. So
No, but we have other callers, so you can't get more than 3 questions. You already get 2.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, please, let's do it that way, so we can have one person talking while other people are waiting. We have a lot of people, that want to ask a question. So yeah, I think that's Prince here. Prince been here for 4 minutes already, waiting. Prince, how are you?
Honorable Sekou, Kenan, thank you very much for the privilege, and thanks to the SKTV family
Thank
for
you.
the opportunity to allow us to be able to voice our own opinions. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Savice. Thank you, welcome, and thank you for availing yourself to discussing the issue as it relates to Liberia. My question to you, Mr. Savice, is this. I hear you constantly saying that, I respect Mr. Cummings. I respect Mr. Cummings. My question to you, because you made a comment that I think was incorrect based on facts. You said that Mr. Cummings gave Prince Johnson $50,000. And that was intended to influence Prince Johnson. The last time I checked, Mr. Cummings came out and gave clarity, or his campaign did so, and they clarified how that money was donated and contributed to Prince Johnson's school, which were based on solicitation. Prince Johnson's school solicited help from Cummings Foundation, and Cummings Foundation, being the foundation who pushed their general education, helped give the amount. Well, the amount is not $50,000, just for a point of correction. But my question is, you say you respect Cummings, and I believe you should have access, or perhaps find a way to have access because of your influence and the kind of job that you do when it comes to justice. Have you, or did you, at any point in time, contacted Cummings directly or some representation from his camp to clarify as to the facts in detail regarding the money that was given to Prince Johnson in, I think, 2014 or 2016, prior to the election? Did you do such thing? That's my question. Then thank you very much.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you. My man, you want to answer to those, because when you've got plenty of questions, you're not.
Yeah, let me start with Prince first. The first question, I didn't understand it from the other gentleman there, but you see, this is the analogy that we have to use. Prince said Mr. Cummings contributed to an education fund that Prince Johnson established. So the money was sought by people from that particular educational fund. The same excuse can be used with Bwaka saying, listen, we didn't pick Prince Johnson as vice president, but we went and took somebody from his party. Look, let me be very honest here, my friend. If anybody that respects victims in Liberia, you do not contribute a dime to Prince Johnson nonsense he's doing in Liberia. Prince Johnson is a rebel. He's a murderer. He's somebody who have destroyed Liberia, and he should not be given the credence that he is. Nobody can stop me from respecting Mr. Cummings because I do. As a matter of fact, Mr. Cummings has picked up phone and called me in Canada. We've had a conversation. But when you are independent, you don't just get happy because one B man in Liberia pick up the phone and call you. I'm a very independent person, and I've lived my life that way. Very independent. Mr. Cummings made a mistake. Mr. Cummings did not do well there. The intent was to have a good relationship with him. Now, and no ANC man can tell me that if Mr. Cummings was going to declare his support for ANC today, we'll be talking about how he's a warlord. We'll not be talking about how he's a warlord. We got to be very honest with ourselves. However, that doesn't mean that Mr. Cummings is not a good leader. Like, I'll tell you, for example, there are two people that are propagating the message of change in Liberia that are political candidates, and one of them is closest to the presidency because I see it as a three-horse race. Tiawan Gonglo, for example, the first caller, I like Tiawan Gonglo. I like his justice message. I like the fact the man is down to earth. I like the fact he loved the rule of law, but I don't think he's going to win the elections. I have to be very realistic. Mr. Cummings is a genuine contender to be president in Liberia. So I see Mr. Cummings' politics. You know, we get mad at people, but we don't know what they go through, okay? We don't know what's happening in the background or whatever it is. But if you are not an ANC partisan like Emmanuel Savice and you care about Mr. Cummings, you must tell Mr. Cummings that next time don't take your money and give it to Prince Johnson. Look, this man was even on radio calling Mr. Cummings gay. And no disrespect to the gay community, but for a man with his wife and children, for a respectable man in Liberian politics to be insulted by somebody who is nothing but a street murderer like Prince Johnson is sometimes because of your affiliation with them. I do not support the money that Mr. Cummings gave to whatever foundation that Prince Johnson has created. In fact, Prince Johnson himself said that Mr. Cummings was shorting his support, that Mr. Cummings is a philanthropist, and that Mr. Cummings has given him money for his education fund. I think that is wrong. And every ANC member, do not defend that. Not everything, we can't make our leaders bad. Some of them make bad decisions. They are humans. Mr. Cummings is not perfect. And that's one of the times you step in and say, Mr. Cummings, I don't think we should have done this. Unfortunately, we want to defend that, and I think we shouldn't. But SK, I did not understand the first question from the first caller. There's a question he asked. I did not get it clear. Do you remember?
I do not. The person said, I think the person said, why is it that you basing your support on Mr. Cummings' stand for justice and not, and thereby, you forgetting about the economic aspect. And Tiawan Gonglo, you support Tiawan Gonglo based on his stand for justice, but not on other stuff. But he's saying that they should call you like being one-dimensional, a decision maker because you wouldn't care about the justice, but you don't care about.
So, SK, people look at justice as justice in terms of prosecuting a certain case. I look at justice holistically. Justice do solve problems in your economy. When I spoke of justice, I spoke of justice in your budget, justice of the distribution of money, especially when it comes to how your people take pay in Liberia. Liberia, let me tell you what we know of. We always blame the victim. All right? if somebody were to go at night and travel through Butu and get murdered, somebody would, instead of sympathizing with the victims, would say, but that man say, why you go power there for? You know, we are used to blaming the victims. To be very honest with you, people don't understand that any country that thrives, justice is paramount. Justice is so important because many of us want the opportunity to go back to our country and drive on a decent road. Are you going to get a decent road in the absence of justice? If justice is absent, do you know how much $1 million disappear from your economy that you care about because you think justice is not as important as the economy? Justice is the bedrock of any economy. So if you don't understand how holistic the approach of justice is, it's not just about prosecuting somebody who killed a human being. It's about knowing how to divide what is in the country. It's about understanding how a country should be run. It's about the rule of law. Liberia got everything on paper. In fact, our Constitution has stated that in order to run for office, you must be in good standing with the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. Now, if justice exists, tell me how Prince Johnson is in good standing with us in Liberia. You tell me. If justice exists, tell me how Prince Johnson is able to build a university worth millions of dollars from a man who said they're not making much. If justice exists, tell me how Fala Johnson or Thomas Fala, me a football man, so I know the footballer them better. Thomas Fala, how he's able to build what he's doing. Do you know what that boy doing in Lofa right now?
Whole lot.
Fala Johnson, do you know what Sir Joseph has done? Sir Joseph used to rent in my place, SK. You are one of my tenants. Sir Joseph had those old ambulances. Old. When you see them say that somebody caught in you probably will not even drive on the street yet. Like some really old ambulance. And I'm not saying he didn't have one or two because they were parked in my yard. And during this Ebola time, Sir Joseph had one of the best PR that appealed to people. He lied about being on the forefront, trying to get people when he had people working with him. In fact, there was a day he dressed in a PPE suit and posted it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, his PR was so smart to win the attention of Liberians. But are Liberians campaigning and advocating for the justice in which Sir Joseph is benefiting and building all these schools? Did you know the last time he received $250,000 to run ambulance in somewhere in Grand Bassa County? Did you hear about it? These are the things that you don't know that justice required to search. Yeah, I'm a victim of Sir Joseph corruption. Sir Joseph left my place and owed me for 4 months and never paid my rent.
Seriously?
I don't talk about it. Yes. So these people become powerful because they are ignorant people in Liberia. And it's not their fault because the education is down, right? You and myself, that way we build our foundation. That's why ours is not even as much as it should be. We will never reach our full potential because of what Liberia presented to us. Let's be honest here. If you don't have justice, you don't have an economy. Because even if the U.S. today say, let's dish out $70 billion to Liberia in the absence of justice, you will only see a 2-kilometer road, my brother. You should really think about justice the way I think about it.
You know what? If you live with me, we're going to be here for another time. But you know what? We can do? Let's take the last call and then you will close in answering that question. Okay. Caller 240 number, last 4 digit 2258. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Sekou. My name is Jerry T. I'm calling from Maryland.
Go ahead, Jerry.
All right, great. Sekou, I spoke with you yesterday, and I like your optimism. I like the way you are so positive relative to the likelihood of even becoming president of this country. I had a little debate with you, and I told you that the way Liberian people think it becomes so difficult for us to actually figure out whether Kamis can become president. I agree. There are 3 major contenders join us in this election. Cummings, Weah, and Wakai. But the trends of these three people, the Liberian people, are not trending that direction. They are not looking at the qualification of these people, and they are not looking at the potential of these people and the international backing of these people. They are looking at how long they've been in this game. And I argue that. So I want to ask Mr. Savice today, what does he think are the chances of Cummings becoming the next president of the Republic of Liberia?
Thank you so much. Thank you for your question. Yeah, so Mr. Savage, you can respond to that, and then we can. Okay, let's just take one more, and then we'll call it a day. You are the last caller here. Caller 303 number. What is your name and where you calling from? Hello.
Hey, what's up? I was calling to ask you a question to Mr. Savice. Just one question.
I think his line is acting up right now. Hopefully, because we got a guy out of here within the next 5 minutes to go watch the other program. So Mr. Savice we lost him actually. We lost connection with him. So maybe you guys can reserve your questions for another day, or maybe you can say it. Maybe if you're listening next time, you can come and listen. But we lost him actually, and we are about to close the show now.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So brother AB from Europe, we lost Mr. Savice. I think we disconnected. So we're gonna have to leave the show here for today and get ready to go watch the closing argument and listen to what the new VP picked, has to say to the Liberian people. Yeah, but we are leaving right now. So I want to say thank you. Unless you want to say something without his presence, but we are about to leave now.
Yeah, okay. I agree with you because I wanted him to actually listen to me because I had a question for him.
Okay, but then we can leave that for another day.
I can ask a question.
Yes. I said we can leave that for another day.
Yes, okay.
All right, my
So
brother. Thank you.
let's go to closing argument.
Yeah, sure.
And go see session 2.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh man. I just let the two people go because I say we lost you, but just go ahead and close. Next time, you always be here anyway. Next time they can call and ask their questions. So we go ahead and close, then we can call it a day.
Yeah, I couldn't hear the last call or Siku. Just before I closed, was it a concern against what I said?
Yeah, no. He was asking, what is your take of the possibility of Mr. Cummings being elected? For him, Mr. Cummings could maybe be a good person, but he believed that the people are not trending towards him. He think Liberian people don't vote on issue, they don't vote on policy, they don't vote on substance. So for him, he think Mr. Cummings, he's asking you, what do you think of Mr. Cummings' chances of winning the election?
And you know what? The caller is right. I think that's somebody thinking. To be very honest with you, we all notice that. It doesn't matter how qualified you are. If the people wanted a child stealer, they're going for the child stealer. If they want a Yeke Koluba, they're going for the Yeke Koluba. If they want a color green, they're going for him. Or Solomon George, they're going for. We have elected bad leaders in that country. So I can see a lot of people gravitating towards Joseph Yuma Boakai, and then other people make a decision and say, you know what, as independent, I think he's going to win. But let's be honest, if you look at the elections, Cummings has a really good chance of winning these elections. And it's not like his chance is above Boakai, or Boakai is above his, or above Weah, and vice versa.
Guys, stop calling. I'm not going to take any more calls. We are closing.
In 3 ways. Monserrato is going to be divided. CDC is going to get votes from Monserrato. So is Boakai, and so is Cummings. A lot of the people that support Cummings are people that think of themselves as people who know it all. It's not an insult. I have a sister that supports Cummings, and I know what she thinks about the Cummings administration. Once you graduate from high school, you find yourself in university, and you think you know it all. At some point, you gravitate toward Cummings.
And the reason is not because people think they know it all, but because these are the people that Cummings attracts. Now, there is another part. George Weah is attracting young voters. George Weah cannot fool the people that voted for him before. So that's why he's the most popular person in the country. And the young people like popularity. So they go for popularity at some point. So you cannot root him out as well. Now look at what happened. Cummings, in my opinion, is going to either come second in Monserrate or third. But of course not a distant second or third in Monserrate County. It's clear that I think Cummings is going to win Grand Bassa. Cummings seems to have a stake in Maryland County. And I believe they are doing a lot of work in in Lima County. So I don't want to look at Facebook and tell people if you say Cummings and we are Boaca or who's gonna win, and then everybody got JMB, 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 and you think that's the politics on the ground. That's not the politics on the ground, my brother. We gotta be very realistic with our people chances. And I know people don't want we are again, but I am not prepared to replace we are with another we are. I'm letting you know now, as an advocate that stands for justice, we must vote people that care about justice. And somebody say you want to waste your vote on Tiawan Gonglo. But what should I do? I rather lost in an elections supporting the right candidate than to win in an election supporting the wrong candidate. And that's what has happened to many advocates who will tell you today the other person is this and tomorrow they come back and say this.
So in short, you believe in Tiawan Gonglo's stand for justice, accountability, and the rest of it.
Yeah.
But you don't think he is going to win based on
No.
the reality on the ground.
I don't.
We also believe that Mr. Cummings could be a better alternative than any other person to you in terms of
in my opinion, yes. And let me tell you something I know for a fact. Tiawan Gonglo was contacted to be vice president to Mr. Cummings. I'm telling you this on first-hand information. Tiawan Gonglo refused to be vice president of Cummings because he thinks that he is one of the giants on the ground and Cummings should rather go as his vice president. And that conversation was dead. I didn't support it. Look, to be very honest with you, I really think that Tiawan should have accepted that offer. But I'm not Tiawan. A lot of people in the group said he's shooting. And I see a lot of people playing this Congo native card. I hate it because it means nothing to Liberia. Just like the late Charles Walker Bronskin said, if you're Congo or you are native, that's not the kind of leader we need. We need a true Liberian leader that cares about this country. I love that quote from CWB, the late Charles Walker Bronskin. And that card, in my opinion, was played a little bit by those who support Tiawan Gonglo, and I hate that. I don't like that. I mean, if he had contacted Cummings to go as his vice president, Cummings don't want to go, that's different. But I see a lot of people playing that card, and I don't like it at all. But I think Tiawan is a really great leader. He would be a good president, but I don't see his pathway to the presidency, unfortunately. And I'm trying to be very realistic. And just like the last caller said, he doesn't think that Cummings has a pathway to the presidency as well. I disagree with that. I really think that Cummings is one of the serious contenders. And if he becomes a serious contender, in my opinion, I think Liberia should really consider a change through him, as the Unity Party has not served change in that country. In fact, they are responsible for George Weah leadership. They gave us Weah, and as an institution, we should be blaming them and not looking at an individual and saying he's different. So that's where I'll stop. But I also ask that justice be prioritized, and even Mr. Cummings should stop doing any backdoor dealing with somebody like Prince Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Savice. And then I appreciate you accepting our invite in a very short notice. But I'm asking you in this public manner to always open your door to us. We're going to be calling you. We're going to be having a lot of good shows wherein we will let you to be on to discuss some of these very, very important issues when it comes to our country. Thank you so much.
Always, SK.
I mean, this platform is enviable, and I
Oh,
would
yeah.
love to be on it when you need me, my brother. Thank you very much for the
Thank
invite.
you so much. And again, one advice you give me, I follow it. When I were in the heat of fight with some people, you said, Seku, keep your eyes. These guys, they are vindictive. They will go after you. They will go after your platform. They want to destroy
Yep.
it. Up to date, they are still trying. But with
Yep.
that advice, I keep my hair up, and we are with God. Nobody would be able to do anything funny to our platform, and we are growing. Honestly speaking, and I'm grateful.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see you still rolling. And thank you for what you do, because
Thank
I
you.
know people thought I could do what you do, but no, that's not what I can. I'm not capable of doing that. I was on the radio for the signatures collections, and that's all it is. And I'm out now. So to see you continuing, knowing what it takes to do what you do, my respect, my brother. Thank you very much for being objective
Thank you.
and making this platform what it is today. I really
Thank
appreciate that. And thank you to Moses as well.
you. Yep. That's my boy. Thank you so much, sir. So, folks, we got to leave it there for today. I know all my people now, even some of my big supporters are telling me, say, Siku, we got to go to closing argument. It's okay. Yeah, go listen to closing argument. However, myself, I'm going to be on there today to analyze what we're going to be hearing from the person called Fixer 2. Councillor Charlie Bronskin will be there and listen. I encourage all of you to go there and watch it. We will see you later. You have a